Hello, welcome to my channel. Have you ever wanted to run Linux and were too scared to try it out because you've heard of how complicated it can be? It's got easier and easier. I've been using it for decades, and these days I find it very, very easy. And it's not just through experience, they've made it easy. What you can see on the desktop here is Ubuntu 22.04, the latest version of that. It comes from the year 2022. I prefer to install this one for myself, but of course you can choose whichever one you want. And this one for me supports the software that I want to use for other experiments and things I'm doing. So if you want to try Ubuntu, you need to downstall it. It's an ISO image. So all you need to do on whatever operating system you're using to do this is to go to their website, ubuntu.com/download is what I typed in to take me straight to this page, and then you click on download Ubuntu desktop. You don't want the server or anything else. There's a lot of different versions, of course, and this page takes you to the latest version, which is 24. That's 2024, and it's an LTS version, which I think is important. I like the LTS versions because they're supported. Here we are, 5 years of free security and maintenance updates and so on, which you get. If you download an in-between version like this one, then it's not LTS, and that means it's going to have updates for a shorter period of time, which is okay if you're experimenting and you keep changing it, which I often do, but I don't need the latest versions with the newest bells and whistles. It's usually a very small difference, just like Mac OS with their updates. So I want version 22, not 24. And the way to get that is, for me, just to go to releases.ubuntu.com, and then you see that these older versions are available. And the one I want, you don't have to follow this, but I'm going to use this for the next experiment. I want this one, 22.04. 0.5 means it's the last one because they go in point releases. So that's the last version of 22.04. So that's the one I want. So I click on that, and then I don't want the server, I want the desktop. So I click on this. I'm not going to do it because it's already downloaded. So you click on here and download the file. It's an ISO file ending in .iso. And then you have to flash it onto a USB stick. And the easiest way I know to do it is to use Balena Etcher, which you get from etcher.baleno.io. I will put these links, of course, in the description below. So you've downloaded the ISO, then you download this thing called Etcher and install it on your operating system. And then I'm not going to show you how to do it. It's very straightforward. You just, when it's run, you click on select image and select that ISO you downloaded. And then you select the drive you want to flash, and you select a USB drive you've plugged into your machine. Don't select your own hard drive because it's not recommended. You will destroy your computer. So flash a USB stick, and of course make sure there's nothing on the USB stick you don't want to lose because the whole thing is overwritten. It's fairly straightforward, I imagine. Then you push the flash button and it flashes. And then you have to make your machine boot from the USB stick. So here is how to enter the BIOS on the computer to be able to tell it to boot from a USB stick. And different computers have different options. This one says press enter because it's a Lenovo ThinkPad. This takes you to a menu, and I'm going to press enter again to stop the timer. And it says press F1 to enter BIOS setup utility, which I will do. You can actually press F1 as it's booting and skip over this menu, go straight to the BIOS. But anyway, I'm showing you the options. Later on we'll use the F12 option to boot from a USB stick. Anyway, so I'm going to press F1 and we're going to go straight into the BIOS, which is here. It takes a little time on this particular laptop for some reason. It may be that you get a graphical BIOS and not this text-based one. Newer machines have graphics where you can move the mouse and point and click at these settings. This one does see, but I switched it back to this view because I like it better. I know my way around and I know how to find things quickly. So what do you need to change to make it boot from a USB stick? I'm just going to go through and look, nothing on there. So security, what I do is I turn off that security chip. This is the TPM module that Windows demands, Windows 11. I've disabled it because I don't need it. And what else? Secure boot. I switch this off so it's disabled. If yours is enabled, then all you have to do is press enter and choose disabled because I don't want it. And that is probably it. So it should be able to boot from a USB stick. Now, if you look in this boot menu, you can see the priority order of different things I've booted on this machine. And number 5 is the USB stick that it can see that's plugged in I want to boot from. You could try moving this to the top of the list so it automatically boots from it, but I don't bother, I just use the boot menu. Also, you need to use an external keyboard on some laptops because it ignores the plus and minus keys for moving these, which is a little bit inconvenient. So having set those settings, oh, maybe there's one more. Oh, it's UEFI only anyway at the moment, so that'll be fine. It'll boot from that USB stick we've created, and there's nothing else I need to change now. So then you go into restart and exit saving changes. So you just press enter. I'm going to discard the changes because I haven't made any. Actually, I'll be brave and I'll say save them. It's quicker, less pressing. So it's going to reboot, and then we'll go and look at the F12 menu, which is the boot menu. Of course, on your computer this could be different, depends what machine you're using. I'm not going to press enter to enter the first menu. I'm just pressing F12 repeatedly. There it goes beep to go straight into that boot menu. And take a second. These are the different devices it could boot from, and what I want is this one, USB hard disk drive, which is the one that's plugged in with the Ubuntu install on it that we burned into it or flashed using Berliner Etcher. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to then let the machine boot from it and start up for the first time into Ubuntu. So here we go. Having booted from the USB stick, you select the option I want to try or install Ubuntu, and then it boots into this. It's a bit slower than booting from a hard drive or an SSD because it's a USB stick, so just wait till it boots. And then what I would do is go ahead and install it. On this machine, I've plugged in a Ethernet cable. That's what this little symbol here means. It's connected to a network, which is connected to the internet. I don't want to mess around with Wi-Fi at this stage. So you just plug it in. Wi-Fi always works straight away for me when I use Ubuntu. It has drivers for so many different Wi-Fi adapters, but I just want to do it quickly with a cable. So you just click on install, which is this one. Click once and wait for it to start. Remember, it's coming off a USB stick. And then you just have to choose a few settings. I want to do this in English, thank you. Let's continue. Select keyboard layout. Actually, this machine has a German keyboard on it, so I'm going to select that. Otherwise, you might run into problems with Zs and Ys being swapped on the keyboard. So German and German, and then click continue. And for me, for what I need, I'm going to do a minimal installation. So that's going to be without all the Office stuff, all those word processors and spreadsheets, and without the games and the media players. I don't need any of that stuff because that's not what I'm going to be doing with this machine. So I click minimal, and of course it goes faster because it's less to install. If you've got odd graphics cards in the machine or unusual Wi-Fi adapters that Ubuntu doesn't have drivers for, then you can click this on to install third-party drivers. I'm going to risk doing it without that, see what happens. You can always add them in later, but I think we don't need them. But it's up to you to try. So then you hit continue, and yeah, there's a drive in there. SDA is the main drive. That would be drive C if you're a Windows person. Do I want to unmounting before I continue? Yes, I do. Doesn't always ask that. Okay, what I want to do, this SSD in here already has another operating system on it, which is Linux Mint. I want to overwrite that, so I just click on this, erase disk, and install. You can, if you want, try dual booting, and that's where you keep the existing operating system and install this new one alongside it. I never had much luck with that, especially when the other operating system is Windows, because when you do Microsoft Windows updates, it tends to mess up the booting. Maybe they even do it deliberately to stop you dual booting into Ubuntu or any other Linux distribution. And it's really annoying when your machine won't boot and you have to repair it. I don't want any of that. So I just click on erase the disk and install, and then it will always start. Get rid of everything on it. Remember to not do this on a computer where you've got important data stored, because you will lose it. So continue. So where do you want to put it? Yeah, that's the SSD inside the machine, an NVMe interface drive. That's the size of it. Okay, so it's going to do all that. So you just hit install now, and then you wait. And do you really want to do this? Yes, continue. Where are you located? London time zone is correct, so continue. My name is user, and this machine I'm going to call T14A because then I know which one it is. Username is user. Pick a password. I'm going to put in a password and do it again so that it's confirmed to be correct. They match. It's short, I know. I can change it later. And then that's it. And require password to log in. I like that. Continue. And then it goes ahead and installs. And I'm not going to make you watch this. So what I'll do is I'll just pause the video and continue when it's finished doing the installing. After some minutes of installing, the installer is finished. So all I have to do now, I want to just boot straight into the newly installed Ubuntu. I just click on Restart Now, and it will restart. And I'm not going to make you watch the boot procedure probably. There's one thing you have to notice. It says please remove the install medium. That's the USB stick you plugged in, so you pull it out. I just pulled it out, and then press Enter, and I'll see you again after the boot. So now the machine is rebooting without the USB stick, just using the installed Ubuntu on the SSD inside the machine, and it boots to a desktop where it asks me, which you can't see, for the password. So I enter my password I gave it during the install procedure, and it will start the desktop. There we are. Only problem is it's not mirroring the desktop, so you can't see the icon, so I'll have to quickly change that. Sorry about this, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to go into the settings program, go to display, where's that? You can also type display to search for it. I'm going to make it so that the two displays are mirrored. Okay, I've done it. Let's keep those settings. You won't have to do this, of course. Right, so now I've mirrored the display, and you'll notice that the yellow tint has gone away. That was a little bug in the installer program that makes the extended display a bit yellow. Anyway, we don't need that for the moment. Let's get rid of that. Actually, I'm a fan of dark mode, so while I'm seeing this, I'm just going to change the appearance into dark mode because it's easier on the eyes, and I think it looks nice. There we are. And we don't need that for the moment. So it asks you if you want to upgrade to the 24 version, and I don't want to, so I'm just going to say don't upgrade. This is because it's connected to the internet and it's checking for updates already. I've declined the upgrade. Yes, thank you. There's updated software available. I'm not going to do that right now because it takes some time as well, but of course you should do this and say install now. It might be about 500 megabytes to download. Oh, it's already downloaded in the background, but it takes a few minutes to install maybe for this first time. I'm not going to bother right now. So I recommend that you do that. This stuff, I don't need any of this stuff. I can skip that. Skip that. I don't want to send my system info to anybody. Thank you. That's about as much telemetry and monitoring as Ubuntu's going to do. Don't want location services on at the moment, so let's skip over that, and let's skip over that. And then we're done. This is Ubuntu 22.04 running on this machine that I installed. And that's it. Fairly straightforward. The first thing that I usually do is I do go to the settings to just set a few things. So how you would do it, would you be going to click on settings? What I do is I pin it to the desktop. So I right click on this and say add to favorites, and that adds it to that taskbar. I'm going to run it from here for the moment. Let's turn that off, remind me later. So let's have a look at those settings. And I already made it dark mode. Of course, you can turn on Wi-Fi and connect it to a Wi-Fi network if you want. Bluetooth on or off, I usually turn that off. I've set the dark mode. Oh, there's one other thing on this page that I like to do, which is to change the size of the little icons. Okay, it's on a different page. What else do you want to do? There's not really very much that needs changing. In privacy, what I'd like to do is turn this off, connectivity checking, because that pings to ubuntu.com to check the internet's connected, and it'll warn you if it suddenly disconnects. I don't need that, so I turn it off. If you want, you can install software. And the way you install software in Ubuntu is not necessary to go to the web page of the software manufacturer and download it and install like you would do with Windows. most of that software is available on a software repository. There are several different ones, and of course you can turn on more of them as you need other things, but the default is this software manager, and it will download updates for the installed software like Firefox and stuff probably. So you click on updates and there we are, it wants to install Firefox. The icons will change to the ones from the manufacturers at some point. This is because it's a fresh install. So you could install those if you wanted. If you want to search for software, then all you have to do on this Explore tab, you don't even have to press the search button, you just type in what you want. So if I want to have VLC, for example, the video player, you just type VLC and it finds it and you click on it. And then you say, I want to install it. So you hit install and it does that. So it's fairly intuitive, I think, and easy to use. And there's a bit of security, so it needs a password. So it's now installing VLC for me, the VLC player on this Ubuntu desktop. And you can install the usual kind of programs that you want to use like this. No need to use the command line. It's only when you get to more esoteric things that you need to use the command line, I find. I think that's it for a basic Ubuntu install. I'm not going to say much more. Just remember to install the updates that it talks about from time to time, because there are security patches for any vulnerabilities that people have discovered. It's always a good idea. Apart from that, I wish you some fun using Ubuntu for the first time. Of course, there's a web browser already installed. You can install more from the software manager. So this is the first time it's run, so it's going to ask, do you want to do all these different things? And I skip all of that. And that's Firefox, but there are plenty more web browsers you can install. If I just go back to the software manager, there we are, you can see that VLC has been installed. And it's as simple as that. And then if you go down here to the Start button, as they call it in Windows, there you've got VLC Media Player, and you can put it on the on the desktop if you want. I've just started it, so it should start up and should do something. I don't think, it's this trackpad on this laptop doesn't work very well. You have to click a bit harder, so I'm not going to bother. So that's it for now. Have fun with it, and I hope you're able to get this working for yourself. VLC was running, because it's the first time it's run, it had to check a few things. And next time it'll be quicker, so I turn that off because I don't want to download things like that. So there we are. Thank you for watching. Please like if you like, or ask questions in the comments or make comments. I hope I made it look simple, and let's see what I do in the next video. Remember to subscribe as well if you'd like to be informed when the next video is released.